Welcome back to Waynesider, where we peel back the curtain on wrestling's most heart-wrenching stories. Tonight, we're diving into a tragedy that's left the WWE Universe reeling, a moment so shocking it's rewritten the script for a dynasty. The air is thick with disbelief, and we're here to trace the emotional fault lines that led to this seismic upheaval. His rise was nothing short of legendary, a force whose power commanded arenas and forged an empire. Every spear, every defiant roar, cemented his place as the head of the table, a leader whose presence was felt in every corner of the WWE. His strength wasn't just physical, it was the cornerstone of a family's pride. But power like that carries a shadow, and the pressure to sustain it was crushing. The expectation to lead, to uphold a legacy, to be the unyielding chief weighed like an anchor. Behind the stoic facade, every decision was a battle, every victory a moment to prove he could carry the family's name alone. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. In the quiet of the locker room, silent resentment began to fester among those closest. Brothers who shared his blood, who stood by his side, felt the sting of his spotlight. Backstage, their camaraderie masked a growing unease, their own ambitions dimmed by his towering reign, planting seeds of discord in sacred bonds. This emotional history stretches back to a family woven into wrestling's very soul, their legacy a tapestry of triumphs and sacrifices. They were bound by blood, united by a mission to dominate, but legacies are heavy. The pressure to honor that heritage turned pride into a complex web of duty and desire. Away from the crowd's roar, those tensions simmered in fleeting moments, tense glances during travel, a conversation cut short in the gym. His power, once a unifying force, began to feel like a wall, separating him from those who should have been his strength. The family's bond started to fray, strained by ambition. He stood as a colossus, his reign a masterclass in dominance, each title defense a testament to his will. But the pressure was relentless, a constant hum beneath the cheers. Fans saw the chief, the warrior, but those closest saw the man, carrying a dynasty's weight on shoulders that rarely faltered. Silent resentment grew in the hearts of those who felt overshadowed, their own paths eclipsed by his glory. It wasn't hatred, but a quiet pain, love tangled with envy, pride laced with longing. They stood in his corner, but each chant for his name carried a subtle ache, a reminder of their own unfulfilled dreams. The emotional history of this saga is one of power's paradox, lifting him to heights while isolating him in plain sight. The pressure to be infallible, to carry the family's banner, wore at his edges, even as he stood tall. The legacy, a source of pride, became a crucible, testing bonds that once seemed eternal. In the locker room's dim light, camaraderie masked the growing divides, but the undercurrents told a different story. Veterans traded knowing looks, while younger stars absorbed the lessons of ambition's cost. His power drew awe, but also envy, a silent force humming beneath every interaction. As the pressure mounted, so did the silent resentments, coiling tighter with every sold-out show. He pushed forward, the embodiment of resilience, but the emotional toll was palpable. The family's bond, once a fortress, began to show cracks, strained by unspoken grievances and unshared burdens. This story was always building toward a breaking point, the emotional history a prelude to a moment that would shatter everything. Power had made him a king, but pressure had worn him thin, and silent resentment had armed those closest with motives they scarcely dared to acknowledge. Then, in a moment that stunned the world, the attack came, a brutal betrayal that tore through the WWE's core. Halfway through this saga, the truth exploded, not from a rival, but from within the family's own ranks. A vicious strike, fueled by years of buried resentment, left him reeling, the ring a canvas of shock and pain. The arena froze, fans clutching their hearts as the betrayal unfolded in agonizing clarity. Power, his shield for so long, offered no protection against this treachery. The pressure he'd carried became a flood, and the shock on his face was a wound that cut through the WWE Universe's soul. Backstage, the locker room dissolved into chaos, wrestlers gathering in stunned silence, some fighting back tears. Real whispers spread, tales of ignored warnings, of tensions that simmered too long, now exploded in a moment of unthinkable cruelty. The emotional aftermath was a storm, raw and unrelenting. This tragedy wasn't just a moment, it was the unraveling of a dynasty. The family's WWE legacy, built on decades of blood and sweat, now bears a scar that may never heal. The attack severed more than trust, it fractured a lineage, leaving its future uncertain and its past tainted. In the days that followed, the locker room remained cloaked in grief, wrestlers reflecting in hushed tones. Real backstage whispers spoke of regret, of moments where reconciliation could have changed the course but didn't. The pressure to move forward clashed with the need to mourn, a tension that gripped all. For the family's legacy, this betrayal is a seismic shift, redefining rivalries and reshaping alliances. The power he held, once a unifying force, now feels hollow, the throne shadowed by treachery. The family's name, a pillar of wrestling, now carries the weight of this fracture, its glory dimmed. Fans are reeling, their heartbreak flooding social media with shock and sorrow. The image of that moment, captured in haunting clarity, feels like a wound to the collective soul of the WWE Universe. This wasn't just a storyline, it was a shattering of something sacred, a loss that resonates deeply. The emotional aftermath reveals a truth: betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from those you call family. Silent resentments, once whispers, have left a permanent mark, a reminder that even the strongest bonds can break under pressure. The legacy endures, but it's forever changed, etched with pain. In the quiet after the storm, the locker room reflects on loyalty and loss, each member carrying the weight of what happened. Real whispers hint at deeper rifts, of chances for unity lost to pride and ambition. The shock of that night lingers, a wound to the heart of the roster. As we unravel this tragedy, the family's WWE legacy stands at a crossroads. Power, once a beacon, now feels tainted, and the pressure to rebuild is daunting. The attack has rewritten the narrative, turning brothers into adversaries, pride into pain, leaving a void where unity once stood. In this heartfelt reflection, we see betrayal as the true villain, eroding trust in a world built on it. Broken bonds, once the backbone of this family, now lie scattered, wounds too fresh to heal. Blood, spilled in the ring and in spirit, tells a story of loyalty tested and found wanting. The WWE Universe mourns together, a collective gasp at what was and what might have been. This tragedy is a testament to the human heart at wrestling's core, where power and pressure collide with devastating consequences. The legacy endures, but it carries the weight of this heartbreak. Thank you for joining us on Wainsider, where we honor the stories that make wrestling more than a sport. It's a saga of blood, sweat, and tears. Until next time, hold tight to those you trust, for in this world, the line between family and foe can blur in an instant.